Welcome. How do you do? Today, this sweltering July day in the year of our Lord 2025. It's a hot one. 90 in the shade. Nothing to see here, folks. Keep looking around. Lot of news. And are there more Epstein-Trump photos? I don't know. I found another photo online that I'm gonna show to you later in the live stream, and you're gonna have to decide. I don't know if this is like an outdoor party. They just look like pigs. But these men are, ugh. Anyways, I'll show that photo later. But it turns out Donald doesn't like being called Donald, so that's how we'll address him from now on. Donald, dumb fucking name, has had other news going on besides his, very close birthday card sending, wonderful secret keeping enigma friendship with Mr. Epstein. Hefe. There was more news. Rolling Stone. And I've got the links down below. Oh, by the way, did anybody see the South Park? So good. I'm hoping people have seen it by now. I'm hoping you've seen the South Park episode by now. But it is a masterpiece in cartoon comedy for adults. Which that's got to be instead of people saying as American as apple pie, they should say as American as South Park, I think South Park's probably the most American thing we've got. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Leave it in the comments below. But I got these links below about Donald Trump criminalizing the homeless, people with disabilities, people with mental health issues. And it's clearly, factually, historically proven not the way to deal with the homeless, the people with mental health issues, or people with disabilities is to turn them into criminals. That's not historically. And there's a great book that provides proof of this. It's Dutch historian Rutger Bregman's Utopia for Realist, where he documents times in history where UBI, housing the homeless, and other examples were used successfully. Highly encourage you to read that. Coolest mom, hello again. The coolest mom with one of the coolest avatars. Is that a little baby kitten? So we're gonna dive into the news, because listen, the Donald Epstein friendship is all consuming. Stuff is leaking all the time. Australian news magnate and billionaire Rupert Murdoch is absolutely, trying to take Donald down a notch. But with all that stuff coming out constantly, more and more of Epstein, more photos, more birthday cards, I don't know what else is coming out. But with all that stuff, right, there were other news slipping by, which obviously they don't want you paying attention to. One of them, the ACLU story talking about Donald signing into another presidential memo, executive order, making the homeless criminals, and we'll go into that in a second. And Rolling Stone did a great article on the 20th, which again, linked down below, about Donald, his regime, Pam Blondie, and their Department of Injustice protecting Catholic priests in the state of Washington. The state of Washington did something amazing, which I didn't know this wasn't a law. Because usually, and sensitive subject right now, heads up, but usually for police, nurses, all these state workers, all this socialism, well, not the nurses or doctors, but the police, firefighters, but usually the sector that helps people in society, if they get a report of child abuse, they have to report it. They have to follow up on it. They have to, X, Y, Z. And I didn't know that wasn't a law for priests. I wonder why. Spotlight, Boston Globe article, Catholic priest controversy. I wonder why, right? But apparently that wasn't a law. Washington State made it law that if priests, even in confession, hear of child abuse, they have to report it within 48 hours. Be right back. I'm gonna. Oh, why'd you change your profile pic? Binkers, hello, good to see you. By the way, hit subscribe at the notification bell. If you're new here, I'm Rob. I go live 5 days a week. And sometimes more than once a day, and sometimes on the weekends. It depends on what's going on in Fortnite. Back, cool as mom. But here, let's dive into... Oh, how funny was this? Hulk Hogan passed. If you don't know, he's a racist scab. But let's get into this Rolling Stone article, because this is insane. And you're going to see a theme here with the GOP, which I heard someone call the GOP guardians of PDF files, which is very accurate at this point. Because after you read this news from Alex Ashley on July 20th, you see Trump and the Catholic Church fight a law requiring clergy to report child abuse. Why would you fight that law unless maybe you're trying to protect your own? Maybe you identify more with the people you're trying to protect than you do the victims? Why in God's green earth would you fight against a law like this? Why? They say it's First Amendment rights, but I think we can all agree that like certain things are better for humanity as a collective than that, especially when it comes to kids. But Washington had passed the law. Sorry, I'm trying to let you read it. Again, I linked it down below. Pam Blondie called it anti-Catholic. But he signed into law one of the most consequential child protection measures in recent memory, mandating the state's clergy for the first time in 50 years to report child abuse. That's crazy that this isn't like a consensus across America where we're just like, yeah, of course, no duh. If doctors, nurses, police, firefighters, if anyone in an official position, I think like teacher, you know what I mean? Like anyone in an official position hears of this, they report it. How is this not like a no duh? We should have, instead of the big beautiful bill, which was just a ruse to steal your to make you pay more taxes and to steal your health care and your benefits and the things that government's supposed to provide for you so they can give the rich tax breaks. We should have laws called the no duh, the no shit Sherlock. That's what I would call this law. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, priests, they should of course be in there to protect children. Doesn't Jesus, I think they say somewhere in here what Jesus said about... Oh, here you go. One of the guys says, you know, Jesus talks about protecting children in Matthew 18:6. He says... He cites a verse in which Jesus warns that anyone who causes a child to stumble should have a millstone hung around their neck and be thrown into the sea. Thrown into the sea! And the Trump regime is fighting the law where it would help protect children. Again, why? Listen, there's always like, if it walks like a duck, if it talks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it poops like a duck, if it has a cloaca like a duck, it might be a duck. This is very suspect considering the birthday cards to Jeff Epstein, the being in the flight log 7 times, the photos that keep coming out, the poetry, the wonderful secrets, the enigmas, with all that. And then this news slips in. This goes right under the radar. That Pam Blondie and Donald Trump, because you know they don't do nothing in that regime is done without the okay of Donald Trump, right? We all understand that. So a law that would mandate for the first time in 50 years for clergy to report child abuse, the Trump regime said we're not going to allow you to do that. I wonder why. Epstein wasn't Catholic, was he? Did he go to confession? Let's see. Who else on that list? Is Clinton Catholic? Did he go to confession? Let's see. What could they be trying to protect? Sorry, I'm missing the comments. Can you play Roblox with me? Probably not. Make you pay more taxes to add more debt. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. They pulled the wool right over MAGA's eyes while promising we're going to release the Epstein evidence. How's that going? Shit's about to get real tough in America. We have the opportunity to, reject this. Be like, nope. It's funny. I seen a clip of some news clip of some congressperson who says, I'm getting a ton of calls about this Epstein thing. They'll do what the people call and bug about. Like, they want to keep their cushy ass government jobs where they don't get to do much and they got released for the rest of the summer to hide these Epstein files. The Speaker of the House. Like, how nice is that? When stuff gets tough, the tough get released from their duties and go on break. That's literally what happened. It's insane. So Trump is fighting this and his regime, and he's using our tax money to do it. But I just think there should be some laws that are just the no-duh law. The no-duh law. The no-Sherlock. Yeah, that sounds appropriate. Priests who are, honestly, at this point, I don't even know what priests do. I know they speak at Mass on Sundays, but are they are they like representatives of Jesus? Are they? Because if Jesus warns anyone who causes a child to stumble should have a millstone hung around their neck and be thrown into the sea, I think every priest would be like, yeah, if we hear something, we got to report it. It doesn't matter if you're in confession. And I mean, if it's a law, then people that are going to confession are probably going to, keep their mouth shut. Well, I mean, some of them won't, and good. Expose these people. We got no room on earth. They're taking up good people's oxygen. These people that are causing children to stumble. We just say it like that because that's how the Bible puts it. Timothy, good to see you. Never heard of anyone defending until these last 3 weeks from Timothy. It's so true. The funniest defense of this ring of PDF files and their associates and their defenders, or as somebody once put, the GOP now stands for Guardian of PDF Files. The funniest, and I mean, it's sad, hilarious, because it's funny, but once you understand like what they're like, hey, I'm good. It's sad for humanity in general, as a collective, as a species. But the funniest one, the one that I was like, oh Jesus. What a look, was Charlie Kirk, where, early in the week, he was like, release the Epstein evidence. Why won't they do it? Well, I guess Dan Bongino, too. I guess those two. The Dan Bongino, like, doing his podcast, yelling at the screen, like, what are they hiding? What are they hiding? And then him doing that Fox News interview where he's sitting there looking more soulless than he ever was, being like, no, I see it. There's nothing. No. It's exactly as the government says. And he just looks like he's seen the ghost of Epstein. That's what he's seen. Looks like the ghost of Epstein's past, present, future visited him. That's how he looks in it. They claim to be what's up, Alma? Good to see you. Oh no, here we go. We got Peter Pan, the triggerer, back. Good to see you back though. See, that's the difference between you and me. That's a good rap song too. But I wish you well. You wish for your fascist dictator to send me to Canada. The fact you watch this channel so much, they give you a badge. You can probably baby rage, biggers, but I welcome it. I welcome it because here's the thing. We fought fascists in World War II. We fought a king in 1775 and 6. I think it was 6. The Declaration of Independence. I seen it so funny. Donald Trump was like, I put the Declaration of Independence in here. I'm like, why? Do you understand what a Declaration of Independence written to a king means? Fucking morons. Maybe he can't read. I don't know. But listen, it's good that he comes in here because he needs to hear this stuff more than the people who agree with me. It's the people who have like a handle that's called liberal triggerer. You know, like he or she, I don't know, they need to hear this more than anyone else. Because a lot of these times, what I've noticed is people live in a box, literally. They live in a box shaped house. But within that house, they only hear the same thing again and again. They grow up either with racist parents or asshole parents or parents who left them, and they fester this hatred inside. So other people's suffering is their joy. And it's a very demented thing, but you see it all the time. Like other people's suffering is how they relate to feeling good in life, which it doesn't have to be that way. Like other people, you know the cat, you get a promotion, something good happens to you, and they're like, oh, cool. You know the person that's like, if you forgive their student loan, what about me? I paid mine, or I don't want to pay with it with my taxes. Those same people, when we get Cuba's vaccine for cancer, which Cuba has, they'll be like, well, my mom died of cancer. Your loved one should have to die of cancer. What about mine? Like that mentality is a disease, you know? If you can't love that people are flourishing around you, something's wrong. And it takes a lot of introspective and a lot of, what did Michael Jackson say? Starting with the man in the mirror. That's what he said. And these people don't want to do it. So I enjoy that people who are not used to hearing messages of compassion or historical facts join the chat. So I'm good with that. I'm good with that. And he's you know, he mouths off like some 18-year-old who's never got, hit in the face before, and that's fine. Everybody's got to learn their lessons in life and act accordingly. So anyways, I just wish he was funnier. That's the only thing. That's the only part, I just wish he was funnier. And here's the other thing. I got to put you in timeout because you know the rules. You know the rules, liberal trigger. No homophobic stuff. I don't play that game. And that's the only way that I'll mute you, or Alma can, or any of the other mods, is if you start acting racist, homophobic, misogynist, any kind of those just ass hattery, any of that, I'll just shut you up because I won't tolerate it. So, liberal trigger, I was just explaining how I welcome you in here, and then I had to mute you because you said some homophobic stuff. So you better watch your fucking mouth in my chat, because I'll mute you every time. No, he didn't get banned. He can come back tomorrow or Monday. What's up, Cree TV? I don't know how to pronounce that. Ooh, I love the cat in your thing. Yeah, he got put in a timeout. And that's the thing. Like when you have people who want to act like racist or misogynist or homophobes, then you got to put them in timeout. I subscribe to the old Kurt Cobain theory of act accordingly. Kurt said, we don't want racist, homophobes, and misogynists to buy our records. Don't. And that was powerful, Like you don't see bands saying that. You don't even see Dave Grohl, who sat behind Kurt Cobain for the time they were a band after Chad Channing, I forget the other dudes, after the other drummers. But Dave Grohl, when Nirvana got huge, sat behind Kurt, heard him say that. And Dave is like, when you come to my concert, red or blue, doesn't matter, everybody's singing the lyrics. It's like, so you're okay with Nazis coming to your show, Dave? Kurt wouldn't have been. Kurt wasn't. So I subscribe to that. That's kind of how we, he'll be back. Yeah, Binkers. He'll be back. What's the topic? Good to ask, Rosalind. Thank you. And cool name, number one. I hope I pronounced it right. And number two, the topic is Trump is some of the worst of humanity. Francis Gomez, good morning. I caught you live for the first time yesterday. I really enjoyed it and glad I'm here today. I'm glad you're here today too. And I appreciate you. I hope you hit subscribe and I hope you hit the notification bell so you can join me every time I go live. I go live often. So we're talking about Trump because and by the way, I might have a photo I cannot confirm. I'm going to need your confirmation if this is Trump and Epstein. I just can't confirm it. I found it online. I said, I don't know if CNN has got their hands on this. I don't know if this is a new leaked one. I can show you in a little bit. But we're talking about how Trump is the worst of humanity, the absolute worst, with not only religious evidence, historical evidence, just common sense evidence, common sense evidence. But he is, yes, E-Unit, because did you hear that your boy is defending clergy? He's fighting a lawsuit or sued the state of Washington because they wrote into law that clergy, within 48 hours of hearing of child abuse, they would have to report it. I didn't know that wasn't like common sense for, American clergy, that if you, even in confession, if you hear of child abuse, you report it like every other normal person in this fucking country. So crazy to me that like they're carved out as an exception for clergy, the people who have a very, very suspect history with that. And Donald Trump, I mean, this is just birds of a flat feather. At this point, the Epstein birthday cards, photos, inviting him to weddings, flying on his private yacht, living next to him. At this point, with all that, and then this, July 20th, this drops. Pam Blondie and Donald, he doesn't like being called Donald. They, the state of Washington had, for the first time in 50 years, clergy have to report child abuse. And they are fighting that. They are fighting it. So I was referencing Jesus, because even Jesus says, anyone who causes a child to stumble should have a millstone hung around their neck and be thrown into the sea. So he is clearly not religious. I was saying we should have laws instead of them calling them big, beautiful bills and shit like that. They should call them the Noduh law. The Noduh, we should protect kids. And then also, if you didn't know, the ACLU is saying, reporting on, hold on, where is it? Here it is. Sorry, here's the first page. Link down below if you want to read these yourself. I highly suggest. President Trump signed an executive order, another presidential memo, post-it note from the president, directing states to criminalize unhoused people and institutionalize people with mental health disabilities and substance abuse disorder. They called it Ending Crime and Disorder on American Streets, which is just a facade. It's just like that big, beautiful bill that was a nasty-ass take from the most vulnerable bill and give it to the wealthiest. It was like the opposite Robin Hood bill. This doesn't end crime. And I wanted to bring up Rutger Bregman's book, Utopia for Realists. Please read it, buy it, it's cheap. This is a great book, and in Utopia for Realists by Dutch historian Rutger Bregman, he goes through the history, whether it be American, European, of how they solve these societal issues with the thing that is obvious. And I found this basically a Cliff's Notes version on Medium of someone who read the book, and they said they gave free apartments for homeless criminals, addicts, etc., and it led to a 74% decline in chronic homelessness. Conservatives liked it since homeless people cost $16,000 for social services, police, and courts, but the apartment and counseling only cost $11,000. So it costs less, and it led to a 74% decline, as opposed to doing nothing or criminalizing them, which costs more if you want to talk the economics of it, or just, is a cruel weaponization of the laws. So I wanted to bring this up because this book is amazing, and he cites historical precedent for how to deal with this. I mean, it only makes sense. If they're homeless, that means they need a home, not to be sent to jail. But Trump and his cohorts, the for-profit prison system, which is making a killing right now. Don't you think it's a little suspect where they're like, you can't have universal health care, but we could put up prisons like that in a week. No problem, no questions asked where the money's coming from. We could do it. That would be good to get all the weirdos talking to themselves on the street. Well, those weirdos, yes, Utah gave free apartments. I think it was in the 90s. I highly encourage you to read this book, Utopia for Realists. It's amazing. But Brandon, those weirdos are somebody's family member that maybe have mental health issues, that because you need to cross this high bar in America to get access to seeing a doctor or a psychiatrist or whatever, they can't do it. So it spirals and gets worse. So instead of criminalizing these people, so if you in the for-profit industry can make millions, they should give them homes, give them access to counseling. And if you want to say, what's it going to cost? Well, let me share the good news. It's going to cost less than criminalizing them. Here is the proof. And this is historical precedent. So I like to, yes, free apartments with free counseling. And it solved homelessness. Amazing, right? Who would have thought that instead of putting people in jail and making them criminals for not having a house, providing the housing and counseling would keep them off the streets instead of locking them up, charging the tax dollars, the taxpayers, releasing them, locking them up. I mean, what is the cycle? How does that help? You know? So this is essential to understand, and this is also why they don't teach it to you, and most people don't. That's why it's vital that, you know, people understand there is a book that documents this: universal basic income, health program, universal health care, homelessness. Rucker Bregman's Utopia for Realists goes through everything. Each chapter is amazing. I think I took another photo of the Cliff Notes. Where is it? Oh, so it went through, like, you know, how free people doesn't make people lazy, which you hear all the time, especially from MAGA. And it leads to reductions in poverty, crime, child mortality, malnutrition, teen pregnancy, and truancy. Improves economic growth, gender equality, tax revenues. Programs cost less than alternatives. Free cash means people buy more, boosting revenues, employment, wages, etc. Alcohol and tobacco consumptions tend to decline. I mean, this book is so incredible. And this isn't a theoretical book like Ben Shapiro likes to go, let's say you give free people money, you give people free money. Let's say, then they're all, buying PlayStations, and buying video games, and buying legal cannabis, and living at home and never doing anything and never having a family and getting married and all the things I think should be the ideal life for everyone else. That's why I love freedom, because I tell you what my ideal situation is, and then you have to live it, or let's say you're a bad person. Like, it's not hypothetical. Rucker Bregman, in his book Utopia for Realists, breaks down the actual economic impacts, the actual cities, towns, states, countries that have done these things, and the actual success. It's just like I say on this channel all the time, my Christ. Look into history. Look at cornflake capitalism. And when Tom Kellogg, or whatever his name was, realized that he could, if he reduced workers' hours but paid them the same, no loss in pay, reduce their hours, productivity went out, injuries went down, all this good stuff. People have more money to buy his product. Like, it's historical, but somehow they don't want to teach you about it, and then they want to tell you, you know, all these fear-mongering tactics. Or they want you to be divided, that, oh, if that happens to your neighbor, then what's going to happen to you? Then your life's going to suck. And it's like, that's not true. A rising tide's going to rise all them boats, okay? I live in Los Angeles, and homeless people is huge. It is, Francis. It is in a lot of places. Greets to United States of Russia with love from Europe. Why, what's up, Black Merlin? Good to see you. Don't give them the money directly. Give them the help, like a place to stay or food. No, Binkers, they gave them money. And most of the time when you give people money, it's just like the pandemic, right? When you gave people money, you know who ended up with that money? The richest people. Because when you gave people money, what do? They bought food, paid their bills, and paid their mortgages. Nobody, like I used to joke during the pandemic and said, yeah, this money, we're all going to retire off this $2,000. We're all going to just retire and go to the fucking, you know, the Cayman Islands and be included in the Panama Papers. Like, that's not how it works. What happened was everybody who couldn't work or was struggling, we all used that money for things we needed. Some people bought other things, yes, but overall, we paid our bills, you know, paid our rent, paid our mortgage, kept society going, because we, the workers, are 70% of the economy, and all that money trickled back up because the rich people don't have to worry about that. They have the reserves to keep their shit going. So they just stashed more and more. That's why wealth inequality grew so much. That's why corporate profits, the profit margins grew so much. So you do give people money directly. You do to end homelessness. And the reason we're talking about this is because Donald Trump signed another presidential memo, presidential post-it note. Jeffrey Epstein's best friend, who sent him birthday cards with poems talking about keeping wonderful, creepy ass secrets, if you ask me. I don't know what wonderful secret would you want to keep with Jeff Epstein? You know, about a fish they saw snorkeling? Like, what are you talking about? Gross. And some people still defend this man. But Donald Trump signed to criminalize homeless, the people with disabilities, people with mental health issues, or substance abuse issues, which, just so you know, I'm here to tell you, history has proven that doesn't work. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't lead to any decline. In fact, what I was showing you and hoping that you'll read Utopia for Realists by Rutger Bregman, the Dutch historian, is that, you know what leads to a decline in chronic homelessness? To less addiction, to less disorders, to less mental health issues, is giving the people free apartments. It led to a 74% decline. It costs less than the services with police and courts and jails and all that. It didn't make the private for-profit industry, private prison industry, tons of money, but it helped our society. It costs less, just so you can see. And this is historically proven. Utah did it. So that's what we should be doing in LA. I mean, just think about it. Go to Airbnb, Zillow. You'll see all the homes, all the empty homes around you. In fact, last I read, it was 26 empty homes for every one homeless person in America. We have the solution, guys. It's just about whether or not we can get people to stop being like, what about me? It's like, trust us. Everything will get better once we start looking out for the community. When you think everybody needs to be out for themselves, we're much worse. And trust me, as someone who's tried to lead and organize a union, trying to convince people that, like, I'm fighting for you to get more money. I'm fighting for your vacation. I'm fighting for your sick time. I'm fighting. Sometimes they don't believe it. And they think, nope, you know. And it's sad. It's sad. The propaganda in America is real and hardcore. Okay. Let's see. I want to drop this photo. I want to see if anybody can recognize if this is Epstein and Trump. Now, I mean, it's an outdoor event, apparently. Hasn't been seen before, but I just wanted to drop this. Can anybody tell me if that's them? Is that them? Looks like some kind of gross pool party. I don't know if that's new leaked footage. Oh, remember this poem they wrote? He wrote to him. He wrote him a poem, Keeping Wonderful Secrets. Oh, Christ. Hold on. Here we go. All right, guys. Seems like their snorkeling event. It costed less than at the end. Could be profitable if you do it right. But who cares about profit when you're talking about people's lives? That's the worst part of this, you know? It shouldn't always have to be about profit. Government is not about profit. Helping people get on their feet isn't about profit. And somehow Americans, you know, that's their bottom line, pun intended. I live in LA and it's so crazy out here with the homeless. Lots of abandoned, boarded up homes. Well, see, and that's what I mean. It's like the answer is right there, you know? There's abandoned homes, there's abandoned hotels, there's abandoned all this. But because they can't turn a profit on it, they'll let people sit outside of those abandoned places and criminalize them instead of saying, hey, we got an empty spot right here. Let's turn it into something. Let's do something with it. Utah, the city, did that. And that's something that I would love to see my tax dollars go to. And again, the reason we're talking about this is Donald, he doesn't like being called Donald. So Donald and Pam Blondie, Donald himself signed an executive order, another presidential post-it, saying criminalize the homeless, mental health issues, and substance abuse people. It's so sickening and so sad. And it's even worse when you have the knowledge of how that doesn't help. And historically speaking, the way to help it is to give them what they need, a home and counseling. Just provide it for them. I mean, we have the tax dollars, right? And money doesn't matter. If you could raise the deficit, that we could do it. Oh, it's exhausting. The orca with the grenade gun. A lot of Taco Bells who will hire anyone, give them a home, counseling, and a job. But it's not even about work. That's the other thing. I want people to get out of that paradigm. It's not about work. It's not. It's about people's lives. You know, these are real people. These are family members. These are once loved, maybe still loved humans. And life is more than this. And we should be able to do it without making them work at fucking Taco Bell. Let's give these people counseling. Let's give these people a warm bed at night. You know what I mean? Like, this is America. Aren't we in America? I'm always like, Jesus Christ, isn't this America? Anyways. So yeah, so remember, birds of a feather. Links down below to the articles we talked about. But birds of a feather. Isn't that crazy? Trump and the Catholic Church fight a law requiring clergy to report child abuse. This dude is the worst of humanity. I mean, selfish, greedy, cruel, petty tyrant. Did you see he's going to Scotland? He's running away from America because he can't get he can't killed. He can't make the Epstein story unalive itself. And this was the headline in Scotland. This is how you do a headline. Convicted U.S. felon to arrive in Scotland. Republican leader who is found liable for abuse, defamation, will visit golf courses. That's Scotland. Much respect. Solidarity to Scotland. That's how you do it. We have Binkers. All right. Coolest mom Binkers. Alma, Timothy, Francis Gomez. Good to see you. I'm glad you came back. I'm going to try to maybe live stream some Fortnite this weekend. If I could get Solus on there. Isn't that a headline amazing, Alma? So great. That's how you do a headline. Don't let them live it down. You know, just the fact that everybody was up in arms about the Epstein list, the Epstein evidence, and we know, confirmed, Trump is in it. He was his neighbor, partied with him, photographic. Like, what did they want out of the Epstein list? They wanted, accountability for the people who associated with him. This dude is proven to have been. And they're like, no accountability. No, it's okay. Let's change the top. Like, no, this dude's a creep. And he's best friends with creeps. And everything that we're learning makes him someone you wouldn't want your family around. Never mind your friends. Hold them accountable. Don't let them live in peace. What's up, Mel? Keep fighting the good fight. Thank you. It's tough. It's getting tough out here. Good to see you, Mel. And thank you to all my mods, to everybody who comes back. Thank you for hitting subscribe. Thank you for hitting the notification bell. Much love to you. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day and a great weekend. I will see you guys next week. Peace.